That was a great 10. So I'm going to be going through 2019's June past paper for you guys. So if we start. All right, so question 1, it says place each of the following numbers in the correct section of the Venn diagram below. The first one is done for you as an example. So we have minus 11. Now we know that minus 11 is, now just remember these symbols over here. This is an integer, this is a whole number, that is a natural number. Now guys, you need to know what these symbols mean and what numbers fit into them. So for example, like this number 2 here, minus 12 over 4, well, just work that out and see what the final answer is. So we know that this is minus 3, then minus 1 over 2 is just minus a half, and then obviously 0. So we can see that minus 3, which is this 12 over 4, this is going to be an integer. Okay, so minus 12 over 4. Then we've got minus a half. Now minus a half is not an integer, it's not a whole number, and it's not a natural number. Remember that these three things need to be full numbers, okay, no decimals. Where integers are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And they're also the negatives, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and so on in that direction. Those are integers. Your whole numbers start from 0. So we've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on and so on. Your natural numbers start at 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Okay? So you can see that minus a half doesn't fit into any of these things. So it'll go outside of all of this. It's part of the reals, but it's none of these ones. Then we've got 0. Now you can see that 0 is not part of the naturals. Okay, so it's not part of this one, but it is part of the whole numbers and it is part of the integers. So I'm going to put 0 over here because that's part of the naturals, but naturals are part of the integers. And there's your 3 marks there, 1, 2, and 3. Then this question over here, round off the following numbers to the indicated number of decimal places. So 0.000999 to 3 decimal places. So just count how many decimals we have here. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to look at this number on the right. If it's bigger than 5, we bump that number up. So if we bump that up, it becomes 0,001. And we've rounded that off to 3 decimals. Right, so this one over here to 2 decimal places. Now, guys, do not work with the fraction, okay? And just put this on your calculator. Just say 120 over 99. And you get this number here. So 1,21. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, and it carries on and on and on. We need to round this off to 2 decimal places. So here's our decimal, 1, 2. Look at the number on the right. If it's bigger than 5, you bump that up. In this case, it's not, so this will stay 1,21. Then pi, so just get pi up. And we know that pi is 3,141592654, and it goes on and on and on because it's irrational. Now we need to round this off to 4 significant digits. So this is not a decimal, it's significant. So we count from here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's our 4th significant. The number on the right is 5 or more, so we bump this number up to 2. So it's 3,142. And that's that one. Okay, going on to the next one. Right, guys, they love asking these type of questions, okay? So what I'm going to do here is we just say let x be equal to this 5,432, 432, 432, and it goes on and on and on. That's what those 3 little dots mean. It means it's just repeating. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 10, 100, 1,000, and so on to get the number of repeating numbers on the left-hand side of the decimal. Okay, so we can see here, if I multiply by 1,000, then it starts repeating again. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to multiply by 1000. And what I do to this side, I must do to this side. So x times 1000 gives us 1000x. And then if I multiply this by 1000, we get 5432, comma, and then this just repeats, 432, 432, 432. Okay, so just multiply by the number of things that are repeating, in this case 1, 2, 3, so it's 3 zeros, so it's 1000. Okay, now we can call this equation 1 and equation 2. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take equation 2 minus equation 1. So 1000x minus x gives me 999x equals 5432 minus 5 will give me 5427. Then this 432 minus 432 cancels, 432, 432 cancels, and so on. So this whole decimal part cancels, and we are just left with this. Okay, so that means that x is equal to 5427 over 999. Okay, that is your answer, but guys, you would not get your full marks. You need to simplify your answers. So what I've done here is I've worked without a calculator, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to work with my calculator with this final answer just to simplify it. Okay, so we get 5427 over 999, and that's my simplified answer. So we get 201 over 37, and there we would get our full marks. But guys, do not go straight from this to this. You're going to get 0. You must show it without a calculator, which we've done over here. Okay, going on to question 2. Simplify the following. So when you get something like this, all you have to do is just FOIL it. Okay, so we do first, outer, inner, last. So this would be our first terms, outer terms, inner, and then last. Okay, so the first, that times that, will give us 16. The outers will give us minus 4xyz. The inners will give us plus 4xyz. And then the lasts will give us minus, because of the plus and the minus, x squared, y squared, z squared. All right. And it's x squared, y squared, z squared, because x times x is x squared, y times y, y squared, z times z, z squared. Now we just get like terms together. So you can see that this 4xyz plus 4xyz will cancel, and we just left with 16 minus x squared, y squared, z squared. Okay. Now with this one over here, we do not have a binomial with a binomial. We have a binomial with a trinomial. So what we have to do is we have to take this first term, multiply it with each term inside the trinomial. Okay, so that's my first step. So that times that will give us 1. That times that will give us plus y. That times that will give us plus y squared. So I've done the first term in that binomial bracket. Now what I must do is I must multiply this one with each one inside that bracket. So minus y times 1 is minus y. Minus y times y gives us minus y squared. Minus y times y squared gives us minus y cubed. Okay, so just to show you, that was our pink hops and this was our blue hops. Okay, now all I do is I just get like terms together, so there's no other numbers, so it's just 1. Then y minus y cancels, y squared minus y squared cancels, and we just left with a y minus y cubed. Okay, going on to the next question. Okay, so with this one, I'm going to have to, this squared over here, please grade 10s, don't just say that this is 3x squared y squared, okay? If you've got that squared, it means you have two brackets. So we've got 3x plus y, and then another bracket, 3x plus y. That's what the squared means, okay? Then minus 2x plus y, 3x minus 2y. Right, so we have a binomial with a binomial. So we FOIL, first, outer, inner, last. So the first will give us 3x squared, outers plus 3xy, the inners plus 3xy, the outers plus y squared. Now, before I distribute this minus 2 in, I must FOIL, grade 10s, remember, BODMAS, so we have to do brackets first. So minus 2, and let's FOIL this out. So the firsts, 6x squared, outers minus 4xy, inners plus 3xy, and then the lasts minus 2y squared. Okay, so now I'm just going to get like terms together. So that's just going to be 3x squared. 3xy plus 3xy gives me plus 6xy plus y squared minus 2. I am not distributing the 2 in just yet. I want to get like terms together first. 6x squared minus 4xy plus 3xy gives us minus xy. Then we've got minus 2y squared. Now I can distribute that minus 2 in, and we get minus 3x squared plus 6xy plus y squared. So I'm going to distribute this into each term here. So into that one, and into that one. And don't forget the negative. So that will give us minus 12x squared plus 2xy plus 4y squared. Okay, now I'm just going to get like terms together. So we've got here, oh sorry, this is not 3, this is 9. I apologize, because 3 times 3 gives you the 9, 9 and 9. I apologize for that. So we've got 9x squared minus 12x squared gives us minus 3x squared. So they're gone. Then we've got 6xy plus 2xy gives us 8xy. They've gone. And then we've just got y squared plus 4y squared gives us 5y squared. And that's our final answer. Okay. Again, we've got a bracket squared. So don't forget the negative. I'm going to write out the bracket twice. And then if we've got a binomial with binomial, we FOIL. So this would be minus. Now guys, with the fractions, do not freak out. Just keep to your method. First, outer, inner, last. So the firsts will give us 4. Then the outers, we have 2. And I'm just going to do this on the side so you guys can see what I'm going to do. We've got 2 times minus x over 2. So first of all, the positive times the negative will give us a negative. Then this is over a secret 1. Now the 2's will cancel and you're just left with an x. So if I do 2 times x over 2, I'm just left with negative x. So the outers will give us negative x. Now the inners are exactly the same. We have minus x over 2 times 2, and that will give us negative x. Now, if we do the lasts, a negative times a negative is a positive. And if I just do it over here for you guys, we've got x over 2 times x over 2. That's what the lasts give us. Now, nothing will cancel. So all I do is I multiply top with top and bottom with bottom. So the top and the top, x times x will give us x squared over then the bottoms. 2 times 2 is 4. So that will give us x squared over 4. I'm just going to get like terms together before I distribute this negative in. So we get 4 minus 2x plus x squared over 4. Now I can distribute the negative into each term, and we get minus 4 plus 2x minus x squared over 4. And that's our final answer for that. All right, grade 10s, we're going on to factorization now. Now, remember your steps for factorization is the first thing is common factor. The second thing is dots. The third thing we're going to look for is trinomial. The fourth thing we're going to look for is the sum or difference of cubes. So sum difference. Okay, and then the fifth thing is grouping. All right. So if we have a look at this, you would think, yes, it could be dots, okay, because the first term is squared and 144 is a squared number. It's 12 squared. But the only problem is this plus, okay, because dot stands for difference of two squares. In other words, difference means subtract. So that should be a minus. So there's nothing we can really do with this. So it just stays x squared plus 144. We can't factorize it, okay. If we go to this one here, we've got two terms. I can see I've got a common factor, and my common factor is 4. So take out the 4, and we are left with x to the 4 minus 4. Now, I start over again. We don't have a common factor because we've taken it out. So do we have dots, difference of two squares? Well, yes, we do, because this is an even number, the power, and that is a squared number, which is 2. So 4, open up your two brackets, plus minus always. Then what times what will give us x to the 4? It must be the same thing. So it must be x squared, x squared. What times what will give us 4, 2, and 2. And that is, we factorize that. Okay. Then going on to this one, common factor. There is no common factor. It can't be dots because we have 3 terms. So it must be a trinomial. Okay, now guys, you need to brush up on your trinomials. All right, you will be asked one. Go back to the later videos and watch how we do trinomials. Okay, so for this, it has to be 2x and x, and then the factors of that multiplied with this, that will give us 7. This must be a 2 and a 3. Okay, now just to double check, that times that will give us 2x squared. That times that will give us 4, or 4x, that will give us 3x. So we've got 4x and 3x. We can definitely get to 7x with that. And then 3 times 2 is 6. And it must be a negative, negative. Okay, guys, please brush up on your trinomials. All right, going on to question D. Now this is a sum or difference of cubes. Okay, and how do I know that? Because these two things are cubed, and 64 is a cube number. It is 4 cubed. Okay, so how do we do this? So just take the cube root of this first term. So the cube root of this would give us x, y. This sign and this sign will always be the same. And then the cube root of 1 is just 1, and the cube root of 64 is 4. Okay. Now, this has to be x squared, y squared. Then, over here, we have to have a 1 over. What times 4 gives us a 64? Well, it's 16. And this sign over here will always be a positive. To work out this middle term, we take this times this. So we get a quarter xy. And that would give us a negative, right? If we took that times that. But then we change the sign. Okay, so it must be a plus. And we have factorized the sum or difference of cubes then. All right, guys, now this is a grouping type of question. And what I'm going to group with these is I'm going to group these 3 terms over here. And then I'm going to leave that minus 9d squared on its own. Now, how do I know how to group this? Well, I've got an a there, I've got a b there, and then I've got this term that is a combination of a and b. All right, so I'm seeing that this is maybe a trinomial. All right, and I'm going to factorize that trinomial and then just leave that minus 9d squared. Okay, so to factorize this, it would be a 2b, 2b, and it will be minus minus. And we factorize that trinomial. So that is what I factorized from that blue trinomial. Now, grade 10s, you can see that this bracket and this bracket are exactly the same. A minus 2b, A minus 2b. So this would become A minus 2b squared minus 9d squared. Okay. Now, this is a complex type question, guys. The reason why is because you need to, first of all, factorize that trinomial. Then what we've done here is we've created a difference of two squares. Because we have this first term is squared, there's a difference, minus 9 is a squared number, and d is also squared. So we have a difference of two squares here. So to factorize this, it's plus minus, and it's going to be this first one. So we get a minus 2b, 3d, and then a minus 2b, and then 3d. And there we have factorized it. All right, going on to question 4. Adding and subtracting fractions. When we do that, we need to find an LCD. So LCD here is, if we look at the numbers first, this is over an invisible 1. So 4, 3, and 1. The lowest number that they go into is 12. Then that has an x, that has an x, that doesn't have an x, so we need an x. Okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply each term by that 12x. Okay, so I'm just going to rewrite it out so you can see what I'm going to do. Okay, so we know the whole thing is going to be over 12x. Now, in order to get to 12 from 4, I have to multiply this by 3. So 3 times that. To get to 12 with this one, I need to multiply it by 4. To get to, now remember this is over 1, to get to 12x with this one, I need to multiply this by 12x, okay? This one doesn't need the x because it has it there, and this one doesn't need the x because it has it there. So this becomes 3 times 3 is 9 minus 8 plus 12x times 2 is 24x. I can simplify this to be 9 minus 8 is 1 plus 24x all over 12x. And that's our final answer for that one. Okay, going on to question B. Now, grade 10s, when you get questions like this, you need to factorize. And this is why I say that your trinomials are so important. You need to know how to factorize these trinomials. So that will be a trinomial, that will be a trinomial, that will be a trinomial. This one over here is a difference of two squares. Okay, so let's factorize these things. So to factorize this, it would be x minus 3, x minus 3. Okay? And guys, once you get to know how to do these things, you can do them in your head. All right? Now, to factorize this one, it would be x minus 3, x plus 1 divided by, this is a trinomial, x plus 2, x minus 3, all over. This is a difference of two squares, so x plus 1, x minus 1. All right, grade 10s. If I'm dividing by a fraction, I need to tip and times this thing. So this will become x minus 3, all over x minus 3, x plus 1. This changes to a times, and I tip this. X plus 1, x minus 1, all over x plus 2, x minus 3. Now I can just look for things that cancel. So x minus 3 will cancel with an x minus 3. X minus 3 will cancel with an x minus 3. X plus 1 will cancel with an x plus 1. And what are we left with? X minus 1 over x plus 2. All right. Grade 10s, please do not cancel that x with that x and say that you're left with minus 1 over 2. You cannot do that. All right. That is your final answer there. Right, guys. So we're going on to another complex type of question where I'm going to have to look to factorize things. This would be a difference of two squares, and this is a trinomial. Okay, so first things first, we've got this 3x over. This is a difference of 2 squares, so it's going to be 3x plus 5y, 3x minus 5y, minus x. This is a trinomial, so to factorize this trinomial, it would be 3x minus 5y, and then we've got x plus 4y. Okay, guys, again, brush up on your trinomials. So now I'm looking for an LCD. So I'm going to start right over here. So we've got 3x plus 5y. We need a 3x minus 5y. Okay, now move on to the next one. 3x minus 5y. I've got it. Okay, so I don't need to put it into my LCD. X plus 4y, I don't have. So I need to add that into the LCD. Okay, now I know that this fraction is going to be all over this thing here. So it's 3x plus 5y, 3x minus 5y, x plus 4y. Okay, now this one has a 3x plus 5y. It has a 3x minus 5y. It's just missing this over here. So it's going to be this top one times that one. So it's 3x times x plus 4y minus x. Now this one's got a 3x minus 5y, 3x plus 4y. It's just missing this one over here. So 3x plus 5y. Now I'm just going to distribute this 3x into the bracket and then distribute this minus x into the bracket, then get like terms. So with this first hop, we'll get 3x squared plus 12xy. Do not forget the negative. You need to distribute that in 2. So minus 3x squared minus 5xy all over 3x plus 5y, 3x minus 5y, and then x plus 4y. Okay, get like terms together. So the 3x squared minus 3x squared cancels. Then you have 12xy minus 5xy gives us 7xy all over our denominator, 3x plus 5y, 3x minus 5y, and then x plus 4y. All right, great, gents. I'm going to make a second part of the video now for you.